to the fantasy show. I appreciate you. I didn't think a weekend show would do that well, but we've been getting pretty good views, so thank you. And this guy right here, Clutch City Cowboy, he gave you some outstanding information last week. So, I mean, I gave him a hard time last week for some boneheaded decisions, and he made that up plus more. What did you do? You called Tammy, of course, Jacob Tammy, for the Colts. You said play any Chiefs running back, and both of them went off. Go ahead and finish out. You said don't sit Greg Jennings, and Jennings didn't get nothing. Keep on going. Go ahead.
I mean, you went over basically most of them, but let's see. Tampa Bay defense got 2 turnovers against Arizona, and that's big points, obviously. Yep. Kenny Britt versus the Chargers. I told you guys to sit him, but not for the reason that he actually got 0 points. He got injured.
I thought about that.
But still, hopefully he didn't start it.
I thought about that as soon as Britt went down. I was like, man, Clutch told people to sit him. I hope they sat him.
And then Matthew Stafford versus Washington. That was huge.
Yep. So. Good job. All right. What do you have this week with sits? Let's start with sits first. Yeah.
Matt Shaw versus Chargers. Colts tore them apart last week, and I see the Chargers doing the same. They're the number 2 fantasy defense versus quarterbacks. They're not going to let a quarterback light them up. So I don't look for him to have a good week.
Oh well. I mean, I expected him to do good, versus the Colts, and he didn't. And this game looks like, similar with 2 powerful offenses going against each other. So, well, you're probably right again. Go ahead, next one.
Jay Cutler versus the Buffalo Bills. I think we should go ahead and say it. Don't start Jay Cutler for the rest of the season. It's not looking good. No, just don't. Just don't go. Don't. Drop him.
Yeah. The only thing, if they had picked up Moss, I was thinking if Chicago had picked up Moss, then that was the only reason to keep Jay Cutler, in the starting lineup for good. He might be a replacement one week that you might need him, but not a regular starter.
All right, LeGarrette Blount versus Atlanta. I like the guy, but not this week. Atlanta's got a pretty good rush defense, and I don't see him putting up the numbers he has in the past. And then you got to sit every Seattle Seahawks player versus New York Giants. Please do yourself a favor and do this.
Especially with Whitehurst as quarterback.
Whitehurst is in. New York Giants defense is way too good to even think about starting any player on the Seattle Seahawks.
It's gonna be ugly. All right, now what about your starts? So you got a lot of starts down here, so let's go through them quickly. Yeah.
A lot of good matchups. Ahmad Bradshaw versus Seattle. This guy, I've heard this guy might be a MVP candidate, and I can't disagree. He's putting up good yards. He might not be getting the touchdowns, but he's definitely going to get the yards for you guys. And then we got LaShawn McCoy versus Indianapolis.
Shady.
Arian Foster showed why Indianapolis' run defense is so bad. He had like 8 carries for 64 yards or something like that last week in the first half.
Wow.
And LaShawn McCoy should be able to get the job done, definitely in the end zone. And then last week, Jamal Charles and
Thomas Jones.
That 2 running back tandem worked. I think the same is going to work for the Jets with LaDainian Thompson and Sean Green versus Detroit. LaDainian Thompson will put up the points in the first part of the game. Sean Green will be the closer, and they should lead for most of the game. So it should be a running game. Cincinnati's secondary is very questionable, so I'd go with Hines Ward and Mike Wallace this week. They should both look to get a touchdown and some yards from Ben Roethlisberger's throwing. Joe Flacco versus Miami. Miami's defense is good, but I told you guys to start Joe Flacco 2 weeks ago, and it worked out, and I think this week it's going to work out again. I expect him to put up some yards and some touchdowns. Ryan Fitzpatrick versus the Bears.
Who?
Bears secondary is not very good, and Ryan Fitzpatrick is proving that he can do something with a crappy team, and I expect him to do the same this week, and possibly. Screw it. I'm going to guarantee it. Bills will get their first win this week.
Wow. Well, Bills been close for a while. They're knocking at the door of victory. So.
Our boy, PC, Patrick Creighton versus Houston's defense. There's no way, with all the injuries on San Diego and the suckage that is Houston Texans secondary, this guy should put up major points. And Jonathan Stewart versus New Orleans. This is probably more of a pickup anything. He's available in most leagues. He got to start last week against St. Louis. He didn't fare too well, but he should do decently versus New Orleans.
All right, you got any pickups for this week?
Let's start. Santonio Holmes, New York Jets versus Detroit. He did pretty well against Green Bay's defense last week, but he had a couple drops. But it's Green Bay's defense. He should have some success against Detroit. I don't see why he can't tear that defense apart, especially in the middle. Josh Freeman,
my boy.
Raheem Morris has said that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the best team in the NFC, and you can't really question it. They're good, and this guy is the reason. He's proving that he can come back in fourth quarters and win ball games.
Right, that's the thing about that kid. It's what he does at the end of ball games to win them. That shows a lot of maturity for a young guy. So yeah, they're good.
And Atlanta's secondary is banged up with Dante Robinson not 100%, so he should be able to tear the Atlanta's pass defense up pretty well.
All right.
You remember a guy named New York Giants Steve Smith?
Yep.
Versus Orlando Scandrick.
Yeah.
Well, we got a similar matchup this week.
Yep.
Green Bay, James Jones. He's gonna make a nightmare matchup for Scandrick.
Well, you know what? I think the driver isn't playing. So I think James Jones is going to go to our number 2, and Jordy Nelson is going to go in that slot role to attack the nickel corner. Or either James Jones or Jordy Nelson is going to have that third. So either one of the. But you know what? Any Green Bay receiver that's on your roster that's available, go ahead and start him. Is that safe to say? Okay, go ahead.
And then we got Bills defense versus Chicago. We talked about Jay Cutler being horrible earlier.
Yeah.
This is why. Start Bills defense. You'll probably get a couple picks at least.
Cool.
And LeGarrette Blount, I mean, we talked about him in the sit column, but you should still pick him up for the rest of the season. He's definitely worth the pickup.
He's gone in all my leagues. They already scooped that guy up. Let's talk about the Moss trade really quick. With the trade with Moss, how is it going to affect the Tennessee Titans and Minnesota? And do you think Moss's production will go up or down now?
Moss's production will go up because he acts like he wants to be there.
Yeah.
We'll see come Monday if he shows up to the Titans. But
he'll be there.
His numbers should go up because they are going to throw to him. I expect the whole team to be better if he produces. For Minnesota, Harvin benefited from Moss. That's all you can say.
Yes. They just use Moss as a decoy. They just use him as a decoy so they can get the ball to Harvin. It worked, but it ain't going to work now.
Harvin is not going to carry your fantasy team. As for Randy Moss, he's going to benefit. Nate Washington's going to benefit, and Kenny Britt. We're segueing into the injuries.
Yeah.
Kenny Britt is injured 6 to 8 weeks.
Right.
He hopes to be back before then. So hopefully, I want to tell you guys, go ahead and keep Kenny Britt. Don't give up on him yet. He might be a solid start in fantasy playoffs.
He might win a championship for you.
Fantasy playoffs.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, try and go out and get Nate Washington because he'll be the number 2 wide receiver to Randy Moss's number 1. And then also, Sidney Rice was just taken off the PUP list. He should be back in a couple weeks.
GHS, baby.
That's far his main guy. When he comes back, Sidney Rice should put up decent numbers if he's healthy at 100%.
All right. What about matchups to watch this weekend quickly? Any good ones?
We got Tampa Bay versus Atlanta. I want to watch Josh Freeman tear apart this Atlanta defense. Matt Ryan should be able to put up decent numbers against Tampa Bay too. So it's gonna be an interesting division game.
Mm-hmm.
Indianapolis versus Philadelphia. Mike Vick is back. We're going to see what he can do against Indianapolis and see if he can keep up with the pace of Peyton Manning.
Right.
And then Monday Night Football, Pittsburgh versus Cincinnati. Good division game. I'm interested to see what both teams can put together. It's always interesting when these two play.
Yeah.
And then we got a matchup to don't watch. Do not watch Dallas versus Green Bay unless you have a strong stomach. It is not for the faint of heart. It's going to be an ugly, ugly, ugly game, and we're probably going to have nightmares after watching it.
Some people are some of our Cowboy fans out there. They're holding on to some hope, but that defense of Green Bay, no, it's not going to happen. Just not going to happen. All right, let's wrap this thing up. Oh, Clutch's favorite show and mine too is The League, and they did a thing where they had people to submit their fantasy football names. So we wanted to do that to you guys and let you submit your most creative fantasy football team name down below, and we'll pick the top 5. Did you say next week?
We'll pick the top 5, and we'll read them off next week's show.
Cool. Top 5 in next week's show. My team name is the Stone Throwers. I used to live in West Africa, but I moved to Hollywood like a year ago, so now I'm the Hollywood Stone Throwers. The team is just nasty. What's your team name?
I got 5 teams, so I'm going to have to read off all my names because they're all different.
Junkie.
For our league, I'm the commissioner, so it's just the commish. WWMJ/DD, what would Maurice Jones-Drew do?
Nice.
Assassins, Ed Reed. Mojo Jojo. And my personal favorite, it's on like the Donkey Kong.
Alright, nice. So if yours are better than his, let us know your team name down below, and we'll pick the best 5, and we'll say it next weekend. Alright, good luck this weekend, and if you're listening to him, hey, he's doing good so far. I gotta give it up. Peace out, man.